Thanks for joining us again today, guys. We're going to do a deep dive into the NC State Wolfpack. Uh, we'll do that for several of the key games.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, second game of the year, which is right around the corner. Let's find out a little bit about the Wolfpack.
That's right, Tim. I've spent a lot of time, me and him has, looking at NC State, watching podcasts, reading practice reports, reading articles. It's just our first big opponent of the year, and that's kind of consumed me a little bit. So we're going to kind of, give you that information instead of you spending,
Yeah,
20 hours.
Yeah, you save 20 hours, give us 20 minutes, and we'll catch you up.
Yeah, you can kind of benefit from our obsession a little bit here. But first of all, Tim, NC State runs a 3-3-5 defense, which is a very unique defense.
Well, it's something that NC State historically and under Dorian has been a very good defensive team.
Mm-hmm.
Under this defensive coordinator in particular, the locals love him. But they're very, unlike a lot of people who claim to be multiple, that they really are, because they'll drop 8 one play, send 7 the next. They keep you guessing. Something that worries me a little bit with a new quarterback.
Absolutely, Tim. They are really multiple, and they will bring people from different areas. How does Nico react to that? Does he recognize it? Because when they bring the house, he's probably not going to have a whole lot of time. How do the running backs do? Because honestly, that is probably one of the weaknesses of our team this year, in my opinion, is running back pass protection. Dylan Sampson, we keep hearing how he's got better at that, but in the bowl game, he still struggled at it. So we're just Peyton Lewis stand there. Cam Seldon, Bishop. How do these do against pass protection? I'm sure that's something we've worked hard on.
Oh, absolutely. I'm certain of that. But it don't mean that we're necessarily good enough.
Right.
We'll find out as the season goes along. This is definitely going to be a challenge for the offensive line and everyone else from a mental standpoint,
Right.
at least.
They lost a lot off that defense, Tim. You got 5, 6 starters returning, depending on if you count Boykin, their safety, which got hurt late last year with an ACL. He may or may not be back for the Tennessee game. That one's still very much up in the air at the moment. By far their biggest loss, though, Tim, had to be Peyton Wilson.
All-world linebacker.
Yeah.
Legend in North Carolina State now.
Really, I mean, best linebacker in the country last year. I mean, the guy was a smart linebacker, and he had the physical tools to meet it. He lit up the combine. So they're definitely going to miss this guy. But let's start up front, Tim, on their defensive line. They got one returning starter there. Davin Van had 6 sacks last year. But the guy that I think kind of stirs the drink there for them is Brandon Cleveland, a 6'4" nose guard, 300 pounds.
Yeah, not a real large nose guard by today's standards, which typically give Cooper Mays a hard time, the larger they are. But, it is a front that has given Tennessee struggles throughout Heupel's career, really.
Mm-hmm.
3-man fronts, but particularly kind of active, seem to give us trouble. Now, that said, if we can move these guys, we're going to have a good day. But if we got to guess who we're to block, we're going to have a hard time. I know
That's right.
There are other edge guys. Travali Price is a starter at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that I'm kind of wondering to see, though, is a guy by the name of Red Hibble.
Yeah.
Or Hibbler.
Hibbler.
Played very little last year.
Right.
Had 13 tackles. And you're thinking, well, why are you worried about him? Well, he had 6.5 sacks.
That's pretty good number. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like top 9 in the ACC in sacks and barely got on the field. So
right.
This is a kid. He's got a nose for the quarterback.
Right.
I would assume you're going to see more of him on the field this year.
Yeah. One other thing about the Brandon Cleveland boy, he had a 10% tackle rate, and
For nose guard,
that's pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
yeah. Now he did. He was backup last year though, right?
He was. He did
Started
start
the bowl game.
Yeah, started the bowl game.
Played a lot though.
He did play a lot.
Yeah.
Uh,
Moving back to the linebackers, Bob, where they lost that all-world guy.
mhm.
Matt, what do they have?
You know, the guy that they're really happy on about him, he's a converted safety, Sean Brown. Played some last year, and when he did play,
You mean at linebacker?
right. I mean,
He played all year.
yeah, he did. Uh, he kind of lit things up there a little bit. They think the talent is way up, but he's kind of small. He's around 215.
Yeah, that's 20 pounds heavier than he played last year.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what he can do. Um, you know, but they feel like he has a lot of potential. But once again, though, I can't imagine him being nearly as good as Peyton Wilson.
Oh, no. There's going to be a drop-off from Wilson. But the question with Brown is, though, is that a small drop-off or is it a canyon?
Right.
And early in the year anyway, I believe it's going to be a smaller drop-off.
Right.
Later in the year, he may slow down, get banged up a little bit. But, he played in the box a whole lot last year. So he's used to the physicality.
Right.
And he's got 20 more pounds to deal with it.
Yeah.
But they absolutely love him. Just based on what he's done in spring practice and fall practice, a lot of the locals are predicting all conference honors for Sean Brown.
Yeah. They also have Caden Fordham. He played quite a bit last year, and they do expect a breakout from him as well. In the secondary town, they're really pretty high on their secondary. They feel like they're super deep. They had some transfers in. Their secondary, though, is led by Aiden White. He's going to win some preseason awards, all conference type stuff.
Oh, absolutely. He's a lockdown corner.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't had a touchdown on him in 2 years.
Yeah.
Which sounds good until you realize I haven't had one on me in 20 years.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
but yeah, he's a quality guy to start with. Like you mentioned earlier, they have a safety that could or could not be back in time for us. Boykin, who's a quality guy also. But they love their depth.
They do. I mean, and they feel like their the corner on the other side, Brandon Cease, I think.
Yeah. Something like that.
They feel like he's had a very good fall practice. So.
Oh yeah, he went into that as a position battle.
Yeah.
And he immediately said, "There ain't no battle here."
Right.
He's upped his game. He's locked that job down within the first few days of fall practice.
Right. So kind of summarize the defense. They had similar stats to us last year as far as our defense goes, and we had pretty dang good defense. They lost quite a bit. I think they have to take a step back defensively.
Agreed.
But I don't see it being a huge step back. And the biggest issue, the storyline of that defense is how do we handle that three-man front? Do we struggle against that three-man? Are we able to push them around and get men to the second level and block those linebackers?
Yeah. Like you said, how do we deal with all the different pressures coming?
Pressures and different looks that Nico's going to get.
Going to be some mental things. Hopefully the in-helmet communication will help. Because we're going to go fast. They're not going to be able to disguise many things. Mm-hmm. And it might be good to have a little bug in your ear saying, hey, the guy that you don't think's blitzing, he's actually blitzing.
Right, true. Let's flip it over to the offensive side, Tim.
Yeah, NC State's offense last year, Bob. Can you think of a word for it?
It stunk.
Stunk is a good word for it.
So they realized that, and they went out and went heady in the portal, and they was like, you know what, we're going to replace all these parts and make them better. And actually, they feel like every position group is better on offense.
Yeah, let's start up front. That was the one area that we don't really know how good they were because they had no offensive skill players whatsoever. I mean, they were bad. Skill positions were pathetic.
Yeah.
But the offensive line, though, they returned 4 starters.
Right.
One of which is a potential first rounder.
Yeah.
Their left tackle, what's his name, Bob?
Beltran. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Anthony Beltran.
Yeah. So they feel real great about him. They, like their offensive tackle on the other side, Peak.
Mm-hmm.
And then they brought in center, their only spot open. They brought a center from Notre Dame,
Right.
um,
Zeke Correll.
Zeke Correll, who good pass protection. He didn't allow any sacks last year.
Mm-hmm.
Only 3 or 4 for his entire 3-year career at Notre Dame. Um, not as good in the rushing department. Now, I will say this, although they returned 4 of the starters, one starter is in a position battle, their left guard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, what's that guy's name?
Anthony Carter.
Anthony Carter, yes. I'm struggling today, guys, with some of these names. There's so many of them to remember.
Yeah, right.
But he's actually in a position battle with a former walk-on. Um, now, whether that's a position we'll be able to take advantage of, I tend to believe it will be. But overall, they feel pretty good about their offensive line.
Right. Yeah, that left tackle, Tim, Anthony Beltran, he's actually probably their best run blocker and pass blocker. So I would not be shocked if, Pierce ends up moving around the other side some, to kind of protect him against their best run blocker, because that's probably Pierce's weakness. Now, uh, I really don't think we're worry about him so much as far as Pierce and pass, because I can see Pierce matching up against anybody. This guy's going to get tested. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully he doesn't have a first round grade after he plays us.
Well, he's going to have opportunity because if he can stop all the guys we're going to be sending, then he's a black player.
Yeah.
But the player that most fans are going to be interested in is going to be right back there, same old position, quarterback.
Yeah. They got transfer in from Coastal Carolina, Grayson McCall. The guy's been playing a very long time. I guess this is his COVID year here. He's had a very good career up to last year, Tim. Kind of struggled a little bit last year. Still had a pretty good completion percentage, upper 60s, and he's around a 70 career 70% completion percentage guy. But last year he got hurt about the 7th game of the year, and up to that point he only had 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Now that was the first year he's had without
His
head coach Jamie Chadwell, which went to Liberty. And a side note on that is Liberty's quarterback had a heck of a year last year. A guy named Caden Salter, if anybody remembers his name.
Former Tennessee VOLS.
Yeah.
For a short time.
Yeah. He was here on campus for a little while, but kept getting in trouble. So he got kicked off. But he's a big-time quarterback at Liberty now with Jamie Chadwell. So, one question was Chadwell the reason why McCall played very well, or did he just have a little bit of a transition year and had no weapons, or
Well, there's a lot of things, like you said, just start off with new coaching. I mean, sometimes it takes a toll on you.
Right.
And he'll have it again this year at NC State. I don't necessarily project all-world status
Mm-hmm.
to him, but I don't expect a bum out there either.
Yeah.
And so far, reports out of North Carolina State's fall camp have been positive.
Right. They have been.
The one thing he has that the previous quarterback there did not have, and that is weapons.
Yes.
Last year they had one freshman wide receiver, Casey Concepcion, who turned into an all-world guy, rookie of the year in the ACC. And beyond that, they could have had you and me.
Yeah, they felt pretty good about him, so much that they was like moving him around to running back and
Second leading rusher on the team.
yeah, they moved him all over the place to try to get the ball in his hands. Had 71 catches.
Yeah, that's a huge number for a true freshman.
Yes.
For anybody, to be honest about it. It's a huge number. 10 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
He's a real deal.
Yeah. They went to him and
But they attacked the portal.
they did. They went out and got Noah Rogers from Ohio State, redshirt freshman.
From a name that a lot of Tennessee fans will be familiar with. We were tried to recruit him heavily coming out of high school last year.
Just star.
Could not get him on campus. He kept saying, I'll be there, I'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
And you just stood outside the complex waiting for that car to pull up. They never did.
Yeah, they really like what they've got out of him so far. He's a little slow at first, spring practice, but after that, he's kind of took off. Kind of a freak athlete kind of guy, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the term you continue to hear. Freak of nature. Freak of nature, over and over and over.
They also got a guy from uh, Wake Forest, Wesley Grimes, another guy who's
Athletically,
yeah, pretty decent sized guys. I think he's got like a 4.4 electric laser time. So
yeah, and they've got another returning starter too, Decory Collins,
yeah,
um, who maybe get beat out by Wesley Grimes though.
yeah, they kind of believe he probably will be at this point.
Yeah, but overall, that wide receiver group with the influx of the new guys,
Should be a lot better.
yeah,
Well, same thing with the tight end group, Tim. They went out and got Justin Jolie.
sounds familiar.
It is because he lit us up last year at UConn. We actually flirted with bringing him in, and I don't know, at the last second, it looked like we was thinking about it, and all of a sudden changed our mind. But yeah, the guy led the country and broke tackles last year, Tim, and
Thanks to us.
right, because he had 5 against us. He had 20 for the year
Yeah.
against us. So I'm hoping our DBs and linebackers
Oh, they remember him.
remember him and is able to correct those issues this year.
Yeah, and he gives that NC State a weapon at tight end they simply haven't had before.
Yeah.
That's a good looking athlete at tight end.
Another group, Tim, that really struggled for them last year. They felt like,
Maybe the worst group.
yeah, was running back. I mean, they felt like they wasn't very good at pass protection, and they felt like they couldn't give them anything extra other than what the offensive line blocked for them. So
And they went out and tried to fix it.
yeah, they went out and got Jordan Waters.
Who's probably going to be the guy. Fact is, he is the guy.
Yeah, decent size.
Yeah, 6'1", 219, 220.
Mm-hmm.
Big guy for running back and has ability. He has grabbed that spot pretty much since they got on campus, and he's not letting go of it. Of course, he wasn't the only guy they brought in. They brought in
Hollywood Smothers
all name team,
from USC.
yeah, and 2 freshman running backs that they're pretty high on.
Yeah.
But I don't see them really getting on the field above Waters that much.
No.
He's a good quality back. I'm not saying he's a star, but compared to what they had last year, he's a star.
Right. Yeah. So, Tim, I guess overall in their offensive thing, it has to be a lot better than it was last year.
Well, it was pathetic last year,
It was.
and they realized that.
So their defense won't be as good, we don't think. Their offense should be potentially a lot better.
Yeah. Good special teams,
A good special team.
good punter, averaged about 43 yards punt, good punt returner,
Mm-hmm.
solid unit.
Yeah.
Really don't see a lot of weaknesses in this team.
No, you don't. I've kind of hammered their win total. I think they're projected 8.5. I think this team is easy a 9-win team. I think they're a top 20 team.
Good team, good schedule for a good team too.
Sure.
Outside of us and Clemson, who they've beaten 2 out of the last 3 years, that schedule is very, very winnable.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't give NC State credit. I mean, they have beat Clemson 2 out of the last 3 years. If we was scheduling Clemson first game of the year, everybody'd be like, oh gosh, But I mean, this is a team that's right there with Clemson on talent level.
For at least production.
At least production.
Yeah, I don't know about
not talent.
talent.
Yeah, absolutely not talent. They've got Clemson's loaded with talent. But
What do you do with it?
But what do you do with it?
The last few years, not nearly as much as they had been.
That's true. That's very true. So this NC State team is going to be really tough team. I could see them possibly winning the ACC this year.
Would not be surprised at all. They'll be battling for it.
This is a neutral site game. So hopefully we can have a pretty even crowd there, even though it's in Charlotte. Tim, you got a prediction for this game? I mean,
Well, we're 3 weeks out right now from when we're recording this. I'm going to give us Tennessee, and I'm going to go by double digits myself. I think we win potentially. If things are going good, we'll smack them. But this is also a team good enough to beat you. That defense is going to can give us issues scheme wise.
yeah,
And they have a few players back there You don't want to throw the ball in Nathan White's vicinity and it not be dead on. I feel good though. I think we win by 10.
Well, I'm gonna say a little less than that because I feel like uh, NC State's defensive line, their scheme, it's going to really hinder our uh, running game and our offensive production. I think we're going to have to, I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. So that's one reason why I think it's not going to be a big gap there. I'm going to go Tennessee by 7, something like a, you know, 31-24 type score, something like that. I think I think we do win the game, but I think it's of a game that's very much in doubt throughout, though.
Well, very well could be. And we'll know more in a couple of weeks after, hopefully no more injury situations.
Yeah.
This, and after the first games of the year,
Hmm.
2 cupcakes for each team, Western Carolina for them, Chattanooga for us.
Right.
Um, but I kind of wait for it. Can't wait for it. It's almost here.
It's almost here. Exciting time of the year. We're ready. We're pumped. And how about a go Vols?
Go Big Orange.